All right, guys. We're doing a second live stream today, and I really like the live stream concept. I'm hoping to do this on a weekly basis, as long as everything is peaceful. On my if I have a day off or something, I'm hoping to do it on a weekly basis. I'll let you guys know what day every week I hope to start doing this because last week it was on a Tuesday at 6:30, and today it's Monday at 6:30. So I think this time is going to be what I have for the future live streams. And so today, guys, we're going to talk about the April 2021 predictions that I have using Vedic astrology, especially. But also, what I'm doing is I'm actually also tapping into my intuition, and I meditate and I kind of think about the transits for the month, and I think about whatever kind of inspiration comes to me where I see some sort of pattern. And that's what I try to give to you guys in my predictions. So, guys, the first thing I want before we go into the transits of April 2021, what I want you guys to know, first thing, oh, hi, ultra spiritual chick. What I want you guys to know first thing is sometimes people make a big deal out of the monthly transits, where the planets are, what signs they're transiting. But let me tell you guys, the most important thing that determines what's happening in your life right now is going to be what type of mahadasha you are in currently. What kind of mahadasha and then sub period bhukti you're in. That's going to be the single most important thing that you guys need to look at when you look at what kind of thing is happening in your life. So I'm going to show this graphic for you guys. Right here is, I wrote, we're going low tech here because I don't have the software yet for sharing screens yet. But we have the Mahadasha is a stage or conditions of your life. And you guys, all of us, me included, we're in one of these 9 planetary periods called a Mahadasha and a Bhukti. Okay. So right now in my life, I'm in the Venus Mahadasha and I'm actually in the Moon Bhukti right now. So that's most important of how my life. Oh, hey, how you doing? That's the most important thing about what's going on in your life right now. Is what Mahadasha you're in, what Bhukti you're in. Nice to see you again as well. Thank you so much. So the planetary transits from month to month, they're going to be, they're going to kind of influence you, but I want to let you guys know. Did you guys know, like during this time, right now, when you guys are watching the news, you guys see probably how horrible things are right now. And you guys have been hearing about the same thing over and over again since January of 2020. Well, do you guys know, despite these bad things that are happening right now, which I'm not going to actually say the words because I don't want to get my video censored at all under some strike or something. Do you guys know that there's people right now, they're in a Mahadasha or they're in a Bhukti that they are you guys hold on one second. I'm going to grab my cat. Okay, my cat has a tendency to want to jump up on the keyboard, and I think everybody has those issues with cats, but she didn't actually get there. But anyways, what I was going to tell you guys is despite all the bad things you're hearing on the news, there's people that they're having the best times of their lives right now based on the Mahadasha and Bhukti that they're in. There's people like, look at Jeff Bezos right now, guys. He is making his net worth has gone up trillions of dollars during this last year. So there's people that are just focused on the news. They're focused on, oh, people are getting sick, people are dying, there's body bags, there's whatever going on. But there's people out there, they're having a Mahadash and Bhukti where things are good. They're getting richer, they're getting happier, they're meeting their soulmates, everything right now. So everything that you're going through right now is actually mostly determined by your own personal chart, not these big transits that are going on. For someone like Jeff Bezos, I can guarantee you that this whole pandemic and thing like this is just background noise to him. Okay, so we got to realize. So some people are healthier than ever, richer than ever, and all this. But if you keep your perception focused on just the news, on what they're saying to you constantly, the drumbeat of things are bad, things are horrible, you know, your consciousness can get locked in where you actually start believing that that is your life. And it really isn't. So right now, guys, today we're going to, or what I'm going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the transits and about what I think it means for basically the bigger societal questions that we have, or how it influences the world. So these are very vague. Sometimes when you're making predictions about these like transits on these signs and stuff, it's more of a vague general prediction for the world. So the April 2021 transits with my very high-tech pen and paper is we got Jupiter entering Aquarius on April 4th, 2021. We have Mars entering Gemini April 13th, 2021. And then the biggest one, which we're going to go into a little bit of a rant here, is the Saturn transit. This is what's mostly flavoring everything we're experiencing right now, the Saturn transit, which started back, isn't it coincidental, guys? That Saturn transited, went into Capricorn, January 23rd, 2020. Gee, what happened around that time, around March of 2020, right when Saturn entered Capricorn? Isn't that very coincidental, guys? And then that's going to go till April 28th, 2022. This is why, on a broader perspective, all the things that are going on right now, we're probably not going to see the full end of, or things wrapping up on this till 2022, guys. So there, remember what Saturn is, guys. Saturn is the slowest moving planet. And Saturn, what his job is in your chart, and also on a general level, he slows things down. So the response to the crisis that's happening right now, Saturn's job is to slow everything down and delay it as much as possible. Delay, because Saturn is, you know what Saturn is concerned with? Saturn is concerned about the masses, broader society. Saturn isn't concerned about your individual life. Saturn just can, there's a quote from Star Trek. It's like, the good of the many outweighs the needs of the few, if you guys remember that. That's what the Saturn philosophy is. He just cares about the structure, society, but you and your individual rights, Saturn doesn't care about. So what I wanted to explain, guys, so we have Jupiter in Aquarius. We know that Aquarius is the sign of mass, I think of it as like mass communications networks, mass large groups of people. It's the 11th house in the natural zodiac. Your 11th house is usually large groups of people, political rallies, those kind of things. So we have Jupiter expanding that kind of thing. Then we have Mars entering Gemini. That's the 3rd house in the natural zodiac. So I was thinking about those two things, and I was saying, okay, we have Saturn in the 10th house of the natural zodiac, which is Capricorn. I'm thinking right now we're in a time of mass publication, mass news outlets. 3rd house rules communications, your local news networks, your larger national news networks. And so Mars is really there as well. So I was thinking what we're going to hear is more of this. Yes, actually, 11th house is also wishes fulfilled. It's highest desires. Yes. Do I see like the planet's wishes being fulfilled? Not really, but in an individual chart, 11th house can be your wishes fulfilled. So thank you. So my train of thought here. So yes, I'm seeing that we're more into this narrative, what's been going on. I don't see any big shift happening this month. I see a big drumbeat of more of the same, actually. And that's what I was going to talk about a little bit. Because this Saturn transit, the Saturn transit, I think, is the most important thing that's going on for the next year even. This is going to be the most important transit going on. And we know that January 2020, we know what started around that time and what we're still facing right now as a society. And so I do not see us getting into it till at least April of 2022 now. I think in some of my earlier videos, I kind of thought we would get over it sooner, but then I realized, Saturn is like a long transiting planet. Okay, so we're seeing more of this news. People can call it propaganda news, and there's this narrative that this old order, this old establishment, because you guys got to think about, what does Saturn represent? Saturn is transiting the 10th house of the zodiac, which represents government, it represents corporations, and they're using their media outlets to communicate with us. That's like third house, and then I'm kind of using the 11th house. They're giving us a narrative that we're supposed to believe in. And so what I was going to talk about also, guys, was, you notice that I brought up in some of my past videos, and this is what I believe now even, is that we've been entering this age of Aquarius. So we're going from this old energy of Pisces, and we're entering this new age of Aquarius. Well, I kind of made a little graphic, guys. Here's the age of Pisces, which we were in, and that's the low vibrational energy we were in. And guys, just think about the last 100 years. What were they like under the age of Pisces? We had kind of the top-down authoritarian pyramid hierarchies. That's what Saturn represents. And Saturn, above all, represents fear. Saturn rules through fear and the old order. And then we're in this really shaky period right now where we're entering the higher vibration age of Aquarius, which unity, grace, love, togetherness. So I'm using my little high-tech graphic here of paper and ink. I think paper and ink's still cool. What do you guys think? And so the Saturn narrative, the Saturn is influencing the government. It's influencing corporations. And what's the Saturn message for all of us? What is it putting out through all the communications, the Mars in the third house, the communications outlets? Saturn is promoting more fear, more anxiety. Okay, so Saturn represents the establishment, it's preservation, it's preserving the old things that we actually, most of us, we don't like. How were things really going 5 or 10 years ago? Was your standard of living going up? Were things getting way better for you in general? No, we actually know that things are getting kind of worse. But right now, with the Saturn transiting the 10th, it's kind of like this old world order is trying to preserve its influence on you and on society in general. And there we go. We have everything on there. But the main thing that Saturn uses is fear and anxiety. So that's what we're hearing through the media outlets right now. We're hearing more about fear, anxiety, and what do you guys think fear does? Fear is keeping you more in control. The old guard, the old establishment's keeping you in check by keeping you in a very fearful place. So that's what the news outlets, that's what the corporate arms, the governmental arms are letting you know. Stay in fear, because then they can control you. It's well known that kings and rulers in history, they knew that they can control the masses if they use fear. Okay, but we're entering the age of Aquarius, which is more based in love, which the old order is basically, the old order doesn't really understand the new age that we're entering. And so here's what the news, I got another graphic for you guys. Here's what the news outlets are doing with us right now. So I drew a little picture. The big square is the big picture, right? Like, that's everything. There's a lot of good things going on in the big picture. There's a lot of people, like I said, there's people having the best times of their lives right now. Even though you think, oh, because the news is telling me, it's bad. It must be really bad for everybody. And then what is the news media doing? It's making you look at this little square. Look here. Focus on this little thing. That's all that matters, is this little thing right here. This little thing. Focus on it. And, so those are the stories that we keep seeing. Focus on this thing. And, the government is going to save you now. They're going to be the ones to save you. And we know that that's not true. We know that personal empowerment. We know that you are in charge of your life. No one outside of you is going to save you, guys. This is all internal. This is all you taking charge of your life and taking control of your destiny. But anyways, this is how they control the perception management. And so it's all about the old guard staying in control. And I do another thing because I was kind of thinking. Thank you so much. I was hoping my drawings. I'm hoping to get the software later on where I can just write on the screen with a stylus or something like that. Because I still don't have any really the live stream editing software. And then the old are what is the establishment, the old order, what's their plan for you? You want to see their plan for you, the default template? Look up Klaus Schwab and the Great Reset, guys. Look up, you will rent everything. There's not enough. So there's also the scarcity mindset, keeping you in fear, keeping you in anxiety. Who is essential? Who's not essential? Right? So this is what their plan is for you, the default template of reality. So if you don't take control of your own life and you know, you can use astrology to find out things, but also you have a lot of free will. If you don't take control of your own life, they have the default template for you if you follow their oh, I said also where you can travel is one of the things that they want to control. So they have a plan for you. If you don't take a plan for your own life, by default, other people's plans will take over. And so that's the Great Reset, their plan for you. And okay, so what's the plan? What's the key? And I wrote another thing. The key is we follow the principles. What's the opposite of Saturn, guys? The opposite of Saturn is the sun. The most two bitter enemies is not Rahu and Ketu. Those are not the two most bitter enemies in the astrology. You know who the most bitter enemies in astrology are? Is the sun and Saturn. They're like the two most bitter rivals in astrology. Okay. The sun, what does the sun represent? The sun represents your soul. It represents the higher self. And the sun represents having a plan for your own life. And don't accept the default template that the old Saturn world order has for you. So everybody has a sun in their chart, and that shows what your soul's role is in your chart. And thanks for everybody for joining right now. So these are my little graphics. Do I think there's going to be a mass rebellion in the future? The AZ Scorpio. What I see right now, based on my interpretation of things, I do see some sort of mass unrest. And I don't think it's immediate. I think that right now, the corporations, the mainstream, the governments are going to be mainly in control of everything right now in the narrative. But I do see, and I think by the end of this year, about a year from now, I do see there being some sort of unrest. Now, I don't know if that unrest is going to translate as mass protests. I don't know if it's going to be, some sort of rebellion. It could even be a digital rebellion. Like, think about groups like Anonymous, So I do see some sort of unrest. People are not happy in about a year from now. And I think that what we're going to see is that a lot of people that their unemployment benefits are first going to run out. There's a lot of people that have been staying at home for about a whole year. Their unemployment benefits are going to run out. And then we have the eviction moratoriums. And this is in the US, guys. So I have an international viewership. But in the US, a lot of people have been under these eviction moratoriums for a whole year now where they haven't been paying rent. And they can't get forced out of these places. Well, you guys know that the old order, the old Saturn order, that's not going to last too long, guys. They're going to put the evictions back because these landlords and the ruling elite are going to want their properties and they're going to want their rent money back. And so a lot of these people might be getting $15,000, $20,000 bills come due. They owe all that back rent. And I don't think that's going to look good. I think there's going to be a homelessness problem, to be honest. And that's what I think is happening. Portugal, foreigner tourists can go everywhere, but Portuguese natives can't. Yeah, that's what I see more of. I see more of this control thing happening for the next year. And it's weird because it's like this old guard doesn't want to kind of let go of this. They kind of want this thing. You hear people in the media kind of saying, this is the new normal. This is we have to stay in this for the next decade. And it's like people don't want to at some point we have to let go of it. We have to move on. Hopefully that's soon. I'm hoping it's soon. But yeah, it's the Saturn is all about control. Saturn's restricting our movement. Saturn's restricting what we can do, what we can't do, and it's trying to preserve itself through the new normal. And yeah, I don't like it either. The new normal. So I think the key is, like I said, the key is obviously a lot of us don't want to go on with the default Saturn template for us. And that's where all of our personal power lies, is we can still use so things like the law of vibration, the law of attraction, they still exist even within my perspective of Vedic astrology. A lot of people think, oh, there's just fate or there's free will. I think there's a mix of free will and there's a mix of fate. So even though you may have a chart that says that something is supposed to happen to you, something may be fated to happen, your reaction to it and your choices around that issue really do influence where your life goes. If you guys, a book I recommend people at least take a look into is Paramahansa Yogananda, the autobiography of a yogi. And in that book, I do foresee us. Oh, I'm answering the question in the chat, guys. I do foresee us winning in the end, but I think, remember what Saturn is? I do see us for winning in the end, but I think this thing is going to drag out for a while. So we might see this current crisis in about a year it ends, and then we might see some sort of unrest in about a year. But I feel like this old order is just going to try to cling on to every scrap of whatever it has hold of. So, this whole cabal or this whole, the cabal, I call them the cult. So the cult wants to remain in control. I think when we're transitioning the age of Aquarius, it's going to be kind of like maybe kind of longer and ugly. I know people want to be like, they want the age of Aquarius just to be here right now. Please just have everything bad end, or they want it next year. Can we get it like 5 years from now? And they're just going to want to cling on the power, guys. Like, I hate to say it, but it might get pretty ugly in the future. Like, as this thing is kind of like, think of when you corner a scared animal. If you corner a scared animal, it's going to bite at you. It's going to hiss at you. It's going to try to cling on to its territory as much as possible. And so that's what I think is happening with the old hierarchy structure. It's going to be there. So I think in a year, I see some sort of, I still see these intuitively, I still see kind of food shortages. I think there's going to be food shortages. In some of the more developed countries, food prices are going to go up. It might be more of an inconvenience for people in developed countries. But this thing's going to be very bad, I think, especially for developing countries. And I'm worried about continents like Africa and countries like India, where there's large populations without access to, basic things like food and clean water. Even though India is developing a lot, it's still not there. So we have a lot to worry about with Latin America, Africa, parts of Asia, India. And so I'm hoping, obviously the old order only cares about itself. But as a people, when we enter the age of Aquarius, I think it's more of a collective, like we're caring about everyone on the planet. And that's where we're going. We're going where everyone's going to care about each other on the planet. And I don't see some like some utopia per se, but I see people just caring more about one another. People have more empathy for one another. I think that's what the age of Aquarius is about, because we're in this old order. There's so many people, and you guys probably run this in government or corporations. There's a lot of sociopaths and people that lack empathy. And I think if most people just had empathy, they cared about, how do my actions affect this person, that things would change overnight. People just simply had empathy for each other. And we are heading that way. So hopefully we get there quick, but I still see it being a long transition. Like this might be decades, guys, and hopefully I'll still be here having a channel describing it, even though we know the old order is kind of wanting to shut us all up and get us on all the same narrative. The old order doesn't really want, different teachers, different prophets, different people coming out of the woodwork and telling you there's another way. There's a dharmic way. Here's the dharma. Here, there's joy. There's love. There's these higher vibrations that you can have. The old order doesn't want that. So that's where we're on our way. I think, guys, I'm wrapping it up for now. I just intended about 25, 30 minutes of a chat here. If there's any more questions, guys, let me see if there was any more questions in the thing. Mars and Gemini, Ardra. Could that be the trigger? Mars and Ardra could trigger something. Yeah, I would not put it. I would not. Yeah, the electrical grid. We know that Texas, they had that power outage, and we know Aquarius, guys. Jupiter. Didn't I say Jupiter's entering Aquarius? That's what's happening in April. Yes. Aquarius rules electric grids. I would think more something like that would happen with Mars entering Aquarius, but it could be because we know Ardra is kind of a dangerous place. We know it's a dangerous nakshatra. So Mars entering, it could definitely trigger something, guys. It could be power grids, definitely oil. We know that we had the tanker that got stuck in the Suez Canal, and I think they just released it. That could cause some oil problems. You're welcome, guys, for answering questions. And I think I'm going to wrap this up, guys. As far as your guys' own individual charts and your mahadashas and what karma you're facing at the moment, you guys can always email me and see get information about a reading right now. The readings that I do right now, guys, they're MP3s. So basically, I want trying to schedule a specific time with being in different time zones and everything's kind of complicated. So what I do is I do it under an MP3. So usually what happens, you guys pay for the fee, which right now is $75 for a 30-minute reading. And then you pay the fee, and then I do the MP3, and within 7 days, I get back to you with an MP3 audio file, which is just me talking about your chart. And so that's how I do it. And so I'm hoping to grow the channel larger and having more of an influence. I know that metaphysics and channels about Dharma and spirituality, they're getting very popular nowadays. Thank you, guys. And I'm hoping that I'll see you guys. I'm hoping I'm going to do another live stream. I may do one tomorrow, guys, about a topic. I'm thinking about it. But definitely, if I don't do one tomorrow, I'll schedule one for next week. So I'm hoping to make this a regular thing. The live stream seems to be very easier for me because I don't have to make the video, try to edit it. So, and also, I like that the live stream is just going to make me a better speaker, talking to people in live time. So anyways, thank you guys for being here, and I'm going to end the stream now. Namaste and many blessings.